Forage-only diets are great from a gut health perspective, and in many cases, forage is actually able to meet the full energy and protein requirements for horses. But in 95% of cases or more, forages like pasture and hay are not able to meet the vitamin and mineral requirements for horses, so you need to top up with some sort of supplement to meet those requirements. I just want to show you how this looks in FeedXL using Poet, my horse, as an example. And I've uploaded a pasture analysis from our bottom paddock and set that pasture to 100% because it's the only pasture that he has access to. If we go to the create diet step, I want to create a diet that is just forage so that I can show you what this pasture looks like and which requirements it can and which requirements it can't meet. So if we name the diet pasture only, and then just click straight through to the results, and we'll go and have a look at the graph because it's the easiest visually to see which requirements are being met. So if you haven't seen FeedXL before, what this graph is showing you is this line down here, this 100% line is where 100% of your horse's requirements for these nutrients shown down the side are met. So if the bar is green, then the requirement is met. If the bar is this pinky red colour, then the requirement is either not met, so there's a deficiency, or the amount in the diet is too high and it's nearing a toxicity, and FeedXL will warn you. So if you have a look at this pasture, and this black box that pops up when I hover over one of the bars shows you where the nutrient is coming from. So you can see in this diet, it's only the bottom paddock contributing this energy to the diet because that's the only thing we added to the diet. So it's actually sitting at 92.8% of his requirement for digestible energy or calories. And I know that for this particular horse, because he's a really good doer, that's enough for him and he will maintain his weight, and he does maintain his weight just on this pasture. The crude protein level, so the protein requirement is also met, and lysine is met. So there's enough protein in this pasture for him when he's in light work. But if we come down here and start having a look at the minerals, so phosphorus, copper, zinc, selenium, manganese, even on this pasture, iodine, and really interestingly, sodium. All of these minerals are too low in our particular pasture to meet his minimum requirements. So there's deficiencies there, and if I left him for any extent of time on this pasture without proper supplementation, he would start to become quite deficient in all of these minerals. Sodium's particularly a problem, and this is not lab error. We've had this tested in soils and pastures multiple times and it keeps coming back at zero, but it's really hot where we live, and in summer it's so hot that they just sweat when they're standing in the shade. So if I left him on this pasture without correct sodium supplementation, he would run out of sodium, wouldn't be able to sweat, his muscles wouldn't work properly, and he'd be in a fair bit of trouble health-wise. This pasture was quite browned off when I sampled it, and so some of the vitamin levels are a little bit low as well. So to fix this and keep horses on this pasture in good health, what we do here is add a balancer pellet. So I'll just grab the balancer pellet that I use. I search for it in the search function and it will come up for me. It's a little bit easier. And he gets 500 grams per day. And I'll also add some salt. So I'll just search for salt and find just plain salt in the list here. And add, I'll say 30 grams a day. I'll go back to the results. And I can have a look. Okay, so it's looking a lot better. You can see now, if I hover my mouse cursor over these nutrients, let's go to phosphorus, you can see now that 65% of that phosphorus comes from the bottom paddock, 35% comes from the balancer, and 0% comes from the salt. You look at the copper and you can see the darker green area on that bar, that's the copper coming from the balancer pellet. Same for the zinc. Selenium, manganese is topped up nicely, as is iodine. There's minimal iron in the balancer pellet that I use. It's just there from native ingredients. And then you can see the sodium. I haven't quite put enough sodium in, but generally what I do is I leave some free choice salt out for these horses all the time. So you can either let them top up themselves, or what I could do in this case is go back and add say an extra 10 grams of salt until we meet 100% of that requirement. So if we change that to 40, and we'll take another look at the diet. We don't want to make it too salty because otherwise he would just stop eating his feed. So you can see now it's sitting up at just over 100%, which would be fine in summer for this particular horse, but in winter I'd want it sitting just on the 100%. So that you'll also see too that the vitamins have been topped up nicely. There's no vitamin deficiencies there. So you can see this is what I would classify as a forage-based diet, but it's correctly topped up with a balance of pellets so that those vitamin and mineral deficiencies are no longer there.